Gorgeous. Welcome back to my channel. So, I've been wanting to make this topic, but when I saw this video, I was like, I have to do this topic now. I have to upload it now because I seen this on Twitter of this man in Chicago. He allegedly, unalived people, and now he's on a dating app, multiple dating apps of that, online looking for women. So this is the kind of stuff that you guys are dealing with when you're on dating apps. Don't get me wrong, like discernment is always key, but women waste so much time on dating apps with men that are incels. Like, think about it, ladies. If you claim that you're high value, you self-affirm that you're a pretty woman, you're an attractive woman, do you think that your value should be placed upon some man who could potentially be a criminal, could potentially be someone that's a major threat to you, a creep? You don't know what he is, right? And mind you, this can happen in person as well, but it's an even higher risk online because a lot of men that are part of the lonely men epidemic, they are on dating apps, right? And all these men are doing is swiping and scrolling. So for a man to get your attention, it took him less than 5 seconds to twirl a thumb, and then he got a response from you. So essentially, a man just has to twirl his thumb, and then he got your attention. Mind you, he's not just twirling his thumb on you. He's twirling his thumbs on 50, hundreds, even thousands of girls. Some of these men, they've swiped on so many women. They've deleted their dating app account so many times and had to literally create a new one because they've ran out of swipes. So what usually happens is these men will hit you guys up. You get a response or whatever, and more than likely he doesn't even care whether he's attracted to you or not. A lot of times men are on these dating apps for ego boosts. They're not even on there looking for true love. A lot of times these men are married. They have wives and stuff. That's why they're online, because they know they can't always go out and always be at bars. So it's just much easier to find women online to cheat with, or they're in secret relationships, or they have girlfriends or whatever. And so they're just swiping and trying their luck, and then they're going to the DMs, and then I got a match. Okay, let me DM this girl and let me talk to her, ask her what her favorite food is or whatever, take her out a couple times, and then let me see how fast I can screw. Some of these men are even inviting you guys back to their house on the first date. So the man has done really no real investment, just a swipe of a thumb, a couple text messages which we don't even know if it's from him, because from what I'm seeing, a lot of these men are using Chat GPT to give you guys one-liner. So these men aren't even putting in effort to even text you. They're using Chat GPT to even respond to you, filling your heads up with lies, telling you that you're the best thing that they've ever seen, and that they want to get off of the app, and that, they want to be exclusive. And this is the narrative that these men run on you ladies, and you guys give these dusty men attention. I always tell women to not deal with men online because it never works out. You're always a swipe away from being replaced. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, that this man is telling you the truth, which more than likely he's not, if he's saying that, he's not talking to anyone, you're the only woman he's talking to, or whatever. But let's say that this man is telling the truth, right? As soon as you guys get into an argument, or, you're taking too long to text back, or, whatever's going on, he's going back on the app and he's swiping again. And what they'll do is, a lot of times, these men, they'll unswipe from you so that they look like they delete the app and they're no longer on the app. That's what they're going to tell you. But then they're still on there swiping, or they go in there and they block your number. So these dating apps, they're literally designed to keep users on the app. Now, every now and then, I'll see a rare story, on TikTok or something saying, I met my my husband or my wife or on Tinder or on Hinge, and, you know, I got married and they're the love of my life and everything's butterflies and peaches and rainbows, right? But that's rare. Like, we have to go back to our organic dating. Do you think high value men are wasting their time swiping online? No, high value men, most of the time, they're going to meet you out, you know, when you're at social events, social class events. You know, they're going to meet you out places that you least expected, and they're going to address you in person, because then you're building a genuine connection. When you're just a swipe away from a man's thumb, you're just easily just being sexualized. He's not even really thinking of you as a person. You're just someone that he swiped on. You happen to say yes, and, you know, he's going to see if he can roll around a mattress with you as soon as possible. And then maybe if you like you, maybe then later on down the line, y'all may get into a relationship. But who knows if he's going to be monogamous during that relationship, because he's on this app. He's on this dating app. And a lot of you guys think that just because you get with a guy that he's just going to get off the dating app. No, a lot of these men, they're addicted to dating apps. You can check check the Hinge and the Bumble, and check that section on Reddit, and you will see how many guys are asking for, oh, do you guys have any numbers, or is it a way that I can get back on the app because I got banned, I DM'd too many women, or one woman said something to me and I can't get back on, I ran out of swipes, what to do. So these men are just on here swiping. And if you're looking for, you know, a sexual relationship, or you're just looking for, you know, someone to, you know, maybe see if you can find a sponsor, a temporary sponsor, because you're not going to find, you know, no billionaires or anything on there. You're not going to find anything of gold, right? So you're going to be digging in a pond that's halfway full, right? And you think that you're going to come out with the biggest fish in the sea. Absolutely not. Men on dating apps are not looking for love. 90% of them are not on there looking for love. A lot of them have been on there for years, especially Tinder. You might as well just be selling it on there. So if you're selling it, it might be a good time for you. Hinge is just full of men that, you know, are full of themselves and they need like pretty much an ego boost. And then I'm hearing about Bumble, which Bumble, you literally have to message the man on there. So most of the men that are on Bumble, right, they're in their feminine era. So you're literally pursuing a man. So if you're a woman that's practicing hypergamy, right, and you claim that you want a relationship, which is why I'm assuming that you're on the app, right? So you're on here looking for a relationship from a man that you have to DM first. You're looking for a man to be your leader and your representative, and he's on a dating app where women have to come pursue him. He's already in chase mode, ma'am. So now you're just another woman in his DM sending him a message first, and then he gets a satisfaction. Oh my God. He gets the satisfaction of whether he wants to respond or not. So these men are like in their soft girl era, and we have women out here that are actually indulging in these men and allowing them to be in their soft girl era. So you're over here with, you know, probably bottom shelf Brad or Pookie Tyrone or, you know, Chan that wants to be down, right? And you're not getting anything. And then you guys go on a date or whatever, think you met the love of your life, from what I'm seeing in these subreddits. And then you're coming back on the app and you're looking for love again. You see how that's insanity? You see how when you delete the app and you re-download it, and you delete these apps and you re-download it, and you delete the apps and you re-download it. Do you not see how insane that is, that you're literally just re-downloading the app, that you can't find love? So you mean to tell me that you deem yourself as a high value, attractive woman, and you can't deal with men online? You can't deal with a man that's going to genuinely approach you? You can't put yourself in social positions where you can have access to high value men who aren't sitting around with dirty drawers on and their boxers swiping off, probably, you know, jerking and doing whatever else they're doing. So those are the kind of men that you guys are pursuing. when you guys are on this app. Those are the kind of men that you're giving your attention to. And it's like, ladies, we cannot be this desperate to be like giving these men attention. And I say this with love. Don't think I'm trying to like make fun of you guys, but I say this with love. I looked at the Reddit for these dating apps, and I was just cracking up at like the stories that these guys tell. These guys are like on there telling stories. These guys are on there like, putting you guys on those, secret teas, and, you got the tea on this one, you got the tea. Like, it's so childish. And then, what if you're on there, right? And, your boss sees you up on a date now. That's the type of stuff that you guys are putting yourself in positions. And these are the kind of men that you deal with. We literally have someone that's literally on the loose online. So, a lot of times with these dating apps, they're not checking these guys' backgrounds. You don't know who these guys' backgrounds are. And they literally could be using their friend's face. Some of these guys are even using their friend's face. You're not even really talking to the real man. Or, he's posting his best pictures. He's 300 pounds bigger. You see what I'm saying? You don't know whether his teeth is missing. You don't know how his voice is sounding. These are all the things that you can avoid if you guys actually focus on building genuine connections and real relationships with men in real life. Not to mention, a lot of men that are on those apps, they're socially awkward. And that's why they're on there. And a lot of them are not even like man enough to deal with rejections. So not only that, you're dealing with a man that's not even man enough to deal with face-to-face rejection, which is something that he should be used to, because men get rejected their whole life. Men are used to being rejected. It's normalized to be rejected. They just go ahead and try again. So you're not even dealing with a man that would dust himself off and try again. Quote unquote, Aaliyah. You're not even dealing with a man that would dust himself off and try again. You're dealing with a man that's just going to go with whatever comes his way. So you're dealing with a man that's not even disciplined enough to even like, have a preference or choice. He's just swiping and seeing whatever comes his way. And so you guys are meeting up with some of these men. You're realizing, oh, well, his teeth is missing, or he's corny, or, some of these men are, doing 50-50. And a lot of these men that are on these dating apps, they're listening to these guys that are on the manosphere. So you gotta be careful, ladies. A lot of times they're listening to these men online on YouTube and stuff, and they're literally telling them what to do. And not only that, you guys are accepting cheap dates from men on dating apps. So these men are taking you guys nowhere fancy, nowhere special. They're taking you to, go, bowling, or for hot dogs and ice cream. And some are even insulting you enough as to offer you a coffee date, as if the guy even likes coffee, right? He just wants to sleep with you. So you don't even value yourself enough to value your time to deal with a man that's actually going to see you as high investment. The time when your guys are swiping, this is what you're getting. So you're letting men that are not even a 5 out of 10 validate you and decide whether they like you or not. Some of you were even swiping on men first, and then these not even swiping back on you. So you're also getting rejected, which is a pretty much a humiliation ritual. A lot of these dating apps, they're literally humiliation rituals on women. Because you're telling yourself all a man has to do is twirl his thumb. He doesn't even have to be attractive. He doesn't have to be money. He doesn't have to be smart. He doesn't have to be charisma. He doesn't have to genuinely approach you. He doesn't have to come up to you and win you off with his charm. He doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is upload a profile picture, scroll through 1,000 girls, and swipe on you, and then hopefully, DM you back, and then maybe take you out for, a date. And, hopefully he has the money to pay for the date. But more than likely, he probably will, because most of the time they're not going to spend more than, $30 on you guys. And then you're back complaining again, saying, why can't I find anyone? You guys have to get out of your social awkwardness and go outside and be a socialite. I'm going to do a video soon on how you guys can be more of a socialite and how you can be more outgoing, because I think a lot of women struggle with that. And I think a lot of women struggle with their insecurities and they don't know how to date while decentering men, because I think that's definitely important when you're dating, to decenter men while you're dating them. That way you're not putting them on a pedestal, or you're not heartbroken or shocked or surprised when things don't work out. Behavioral psychology. It's intermediate reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Now, men benefit more from this structure than women do, because men operate in value. Women are on there actually trying to date, operate in selection, actually looking for love. Meanwhile, the men are just focusing on the quantity of women that they can get. So on most major apps, men outnumber women. And on Tinder, studies have shown that roughly 70 to 75% of users are male. That means women are a scarce resource, but instead of increasing your power, it actually increases male competition behavior. And competition behavior online doesn't look like effort. It's just the mass swiping. So men swipe right on significantly more profiles than women do. So men also, it says here that men also swipe at about 40 to 50% of profiles, while women only swipe on 10%. So women are actually not even satisfied with their pickings, or they're more picking of what they're trying to date, because, you know, women are naturally hypergamous and women want to date a man they're attractive to, and, you know, probably checking out his profile, his career, whether he has kids, etc. So what it's saying is less than 10% of men on the app are even qualified candidates. So you have about 75%. So it's a male dominated app, and less than 10% of them are even getting swiped on. So most of your matches aren't even intentional. They're automated. So you're not being chosen. You're being filtered for later. And that subtle dynamic chips away at your confidence without you realizing. So when a man asks you on a date on a dating app, just think of it like this. You're pretty much a backup plan just in case the main one that he really wants, if you're not the main one, doesn't show up, or the other one doesn't show up. So even if you're the main one that he really wants, he probably has 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 other backups just in case you don't show up. And if he has to reschedule, more than likely the one that he really wanted showed up. So a lot of times I see on TikTok, women are complaining that men are leaving them or ghosting them or not showing up for the first date, and that's because they're on a date with someone else. So on Monday he's on a date with Rebecca, on Tuesday he's on a date with Susie, and on Thursday he's gonna see if he can squeeze you in for an hour, and then after he leaves you, because he's been seeing Rebecca for a while, he's gonna go get some, JJ, some good, some WAP from Rebecca until you stop holding out. That's what's going on, ladies. And I'm just telling you guys the truth, because I don't want you guys wasting your time on there. So many people are on these dating apps and people have so many options. They're always going to be looking for more. Men that are on dating apps are always looking for more. Mind you, we know that men, even that we meet offline, right? We know that men are going to look and men are going to gaze, and, men are sexual, right? But at least if he's not on a dating app, he's not constantly swiping. He's not constantly having different women on his phone. So, if a man is on a dating app, he could be on there at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. on a meeting, on lunch break, and just getting girls, versus a man that's not even on a dating app. He actually has to go out and has to go hunt like a man should do, right? As a man should be. And more than likely, he's probably experiencing rejection. But for a man that's on a dating app, he's getting all access to all kinds of women. And if the other women, let's say you're trying to pursue a man, right, and you're more, harder to catch to the other women or whatever, so then he leaves you. So a lot of times because you guys are in fear that a man will leave you, or because you're constantly in competition with, thousands of women every day for one man that's at the bare minimum of 5 on the dating market, average at best. Okay? And you're competing for this guy. More than likely, you're probably going to lower your standards or lower your date because you don't want him to go back on there and he's swiping. You don't want to go back on there and he's swiping. And then you're going to constantly be checking the app because you're like, oh, did he really delete his app? Oh, is he really on there or whatever? And then when you're dating men that's on his dating apps, let's say you have friends that are on dating apps too, because you don't know what your homegirl's doing. So let's say your friend's on a dating app. And then she swipes. And then now you and your friend are talking to the same guy. You see how that works? So as long as he's on that dating app, he's more liable to talk to your friends, your family members, anyone that you know that may possibly be on a dating app, because he's just that available to date. He's saying, hey, I'm here. Come get me. So your man is literally legs open at all time. And more than likely, when they delete the app, they don't really delete it. They just deactivate it. So when you're not around or you're getting on their nerves or whatever, they'll just reactivate it, get a couple numbers, and deactivate it again. Likely, you're going to end up attached while he's still exploring the dynamic of the app, which promotes multi-dating. And it doesn't really promote being exclusive with anyone else. It's like, okay, well, if you find someone you're like, cool. But if not, don't forget, we have 2,000 other girls that are online. You want to try to swipe and gamble and see which one can give you attention? That's all it is. It's literally a game. And you're putting yourself to say, hey, place me in a game so that men can choose me. I'm waiting to be picked. So you being on a dating app, you're a pick-misha. You're a pick-me. You're a pick-me girl, because you're literally letting men pick you up out of a farm or out of a barn, essentially, like you are a piece of corn. Okay? Or you are, just a root or whatever. You're not getting watered. You're not getting pampered. You're not getting nurtured like a flower, right? Flower takes time to grow. He got to plant the seeds, take time to grow, have certain dirt, certain oils. And, if they're not getting nurtured right, they die off. But you're just placing yourself like an Easter egg. So men are going out there like it's Easter eggs, and he going to go hunt, and then oop, he skipped over your egg, and oop, he found someone else, and he could even swipe blindsided. So think of it. A man could close his eye and swipe on your picture, and then if you're desperate enough to swipe back, oop, it's a match. And a lot of times these men, they're on there playing so much, they even have notes on their phone where they just literally copy and paste certain lines to multiple women. So you're thinking that this guy is like, the next Romeo, or he's so poetic, and he's telling you, oh, your eyes are really beautiful. Now you really love the things you're saying. Mind you, he sent that to 1,000 girls. He sent that to 1,000 other women, and they all rejected him. So now you're the leftover. You're getting everyone's residuals. And with the dating app culture, you have to think of it like this. This man got rejected by 300, 400 plus women before he got to you, and he's still looking for more. So your man had to be rejected by a huge amount of women before he even got to you. So you're not the first option, and you'll never be the first option. Not even if you catch him when he first joined the app, because that's when they promote the profiles the most, when you're a new person on the app. And a lot of women are going to say, well, I'm getting a lot of matches, men might find me attractive. Babe, male validation means nothing. Men will literally go date a donkey if it has a BBL, or if it has enough. Men will go date a 2 in a face, okay, as long as it has a body. Men, I've seen men on Instagram that there are literally people creating AI models accounts of people that are suffering from certain facial qualities and certain mental qualities because of who they are, disabled. Men are so sick. People are making accounts of disabled people, okay, that aren't real, but they're actually putting, fake chests, fake, bottoms on them, and they're making them dance and shake, and men are like, I ain't gonna lie, or I'm not gonna hold you. So a man finding you attractive is not a flex. So matches doesn't equal marriage potential. Your husband more than likely is not on date now. The bar is lower, and so is the quality. Also, do you let men just come up to you in person and you just boost their ego? You just hype them up? You just give them attention? So can a man, take his thumb and just wave at you or point a finger at you and you just come over like a dog? So most women are going to answer that and say, no, what are you talking about, Lynn? What are you talking about, Lynn? I would never. I have higher standards than that. Okay, so why are you letting a man in his pajamas that probably hasn't washed up all day watching Netflix get your attention based on that and get your response? So you're giving the guy more attention that is in pajamas watching Netflix than the guy that's actually dressed up, putting in effort, that's risking his, risking himself, risking the rejection, risking his time, coming up to you, being bold, actually has to present you with something. But you're going to give him a hard time. But you're going to give the guy with the pajamas as much time as possible. And most of the time, these men, they just want pen pals. So if he's not trying to pursue you sexually, or he already has someone that he's getting sexual with, then what's going to happen is, okay, he's just going to be your text buddy. So it's going to be a bunch of good morning texts. Hey, how you doing? Just to keep you on the line, just in case the main one doesn't work out. And then when the main one doesn't work out, then maybe he'll invite you on a date. So a lot of times you guys have been in text situationships with a lot of these men you've been texting for, over a month, over 2-3 months. He still hasn't asked you out yet. I always tell women, do not let a man be on your phone for longer than 2 weeks without properly planning a date. If he hasn't planned a date within 2 weeks of you guys knowing each other, and I definitely recommend, getting on the phone first, talking first. That way you can know how the conversation would go. You can tell a lot about, a person based on their conversation, how they talk on the phone, whether you like their voice, whether you guys get along. It'll be similar to a first date over the phone. However, being on the phone requires, intimacy. It's more intimate. It's more intimate than texting. So a lot of these men, they don't even call you guys. They're literally just texting you. It requires no effort to text someone. It's so easy. He doesn't even have to open his mouth. Or he could be using, voice to text. So a man's not even taking the time to even twirl his thumbs with you. He just voicing the text, or he's copying and pasting. A lot of times these men are literally having good morning texts that are scheduled out, that are being sent to one of his many. So you're just one of many. Increase your real world visibility. That way you don't have to resort to desperate tactics. And strengthen your social network. Most lifelong long-term couples, they've met through friendship groups. They've met at, events, church, if that's what you're into, cultural events. You could go on Eventbrite and you can see what kind of events and stuff that they have going on in town. Especially if you're trying to date a man that's high value, you definitely want to evolve yourself and, entrepreneur events or charity events or any events that's related to, money, or they even have sipping paints and stuff you could do. Or even if you want to try speed date, and at least speed date in real life, that way you can know what the guy looks like. It's pretty fun, and you could just hit the buzzer if you don't want to talk to him. Ladies, it's not about just doing more, but it's about removing yourself from spaces that commify you. Okay? But what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you staying on these apps or are you logging off? And tell me your stories. I'm pretty sure you guys have some crazy dating stories to tell. Tell these young ladies if you've already got on there. And let's talk. See you in the next video.